go. Press record. Hello. Hi all. Got Helen, got Jen. Just saying we had 5 people at the meetup. All the rest were Tessols. It was still successful though. The Tessols got to teach and they asked lots of questions because a lot of people were new. I'll just mute everyone because I don't know who's talking. But just to let you know, we had a bit of a vote about whether to do meetups, Zoom, online, to do that every week or fortnightly. Being noisy, that person, whoever it is. Maybe Helen, I don't know. I'm not blaming you, Helen, but someone. Yeah, so we decided to make it every 2 weeks because we didn't know. Online, there's a lot of demand, but anyway, it's just easier just to have it the same as face to face. So when it's face to face, because Zoe takes photos, you guys have one of my old iPhones and you record, and I, extra work for me, but I have one person do online lesson. Yeah, but I sort of go out every now and then. I don't listen 100% completely all the time. So I've got the lesson online, and then we decided just 2 ints and 2 uppers and maybe 1 advanced person for every meetup fortnightly. Does that sound okay with everyone? Because there's no pre's and no LMs left in Melbourne. Pretty much that's the way, yeah. And then so this morning, the usual thing, we just did theory. About 10:15, we all went off to our rooms. And first person, I had 1 and 2, so I had we had pre as well this morning, but yeah, there was no meetup pre's. So that's why we're not doing pre anymore.
So is that okay, like getting your certificate or diploma? Because the guide says that you need to teach lessons and do observations in like different levels and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, Joelle, good point. I wrote that, but that's only because that would be good in a perfect world. But in a COVID world, there's no
Yeah.
pre's and LMs. Therefore, unless you do the meetup through me, and
Mhm.
there's always someone who's sick or whatnot, you can pop on down to LM if you don't want to do 5 sessions. But there's lots of
Yeah.
people, the nighttime class Monday, they have like
Mhm.
15 people come.
Mhm.
Yeah. So, yeah, well, I say definitely need 2 levels. 3 would be good, but if you can't get it, that's okay.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Just if you wanted to, you can put your hand up for an elementary class and say you've done that. But with the 9 o'clock session, probably about half are probably pre-int people. They just come along because it's free and they enjoy it. I think it's company. They like the regular 5 sessions with the 1 teacher as well.
Mhm.
Yeah. So when you're teaching elementary, half are probably really elementary. The other half are not.
Yeah. But it's difficult to teach like a lesson, like they want you to teach 5 lessons at a time, right?
Yeah. But
Yeah.
they understand if someone's sick or internet's not working properly.
All right.
Yeah, we've had that situation where someone else has stepped up. Yeah.
Okay. Good.
I usually tell them an hour before, or you guys do. If you've forgotten, then I tend to say lesson with Nadine or whoever it is. And then I've got other chats. There's one big int major chat. So from that int, I can advertise without you guys knowing about it. So if I think your numbers are a bit down, I go to that int or upper or advanced or pre or elementary WhatsApp chat. And I ask, come on, guys, I need more. Pop on over to Joel's chat and then, or Zoom. So I can always manipulate it so it's more or less. Like if you've got too many and you're stressed, obviously I won't advertise. Like, week in, week out, I'll just low key. But if there's not enough, then I pump it up with the other chats and tell David, as he's in Thailand now. Yeah. Helen's talking to me. You guys, why always certificate people talk and dip people don't talk? Helen is listening. She can't talk, everyone. If you're in the dip chat and you don't know what's going on, you should let me put you back in the cert chat because they talk nonstop and dips never talk. Everyone, are you aware of that? Just to let you know. Once you're in the dip, I don't know what it is. No one wants to talk anymore. Okay. So I had to press record, everyone, just so you know. Don't say anything bad about Anibit or the government or the Chinese government. I don't know, just be careful. It's that date, 27th of Feb. Basically, we're just doing grammar. So it's grammar session number 2. And if you go to the the link I've sent you for grammar, it's actually grammar and genre together. We do genre next week and the week after, but that 4th week will be the week before assignment's due, so we'll go through the assignment that week too. And just to let you know, there is some homework there which I strongly advise you to do because it's meant to be 20 hours that you're studying, but it's not compulsory. I just say it'd be good if you could do it. There's a Quizlet quiz and another matching. So if you want to know where the homework is, I've given up emailing you because it takes too long. So basically you just go to the Cert Grammar Genre folder that I've linked to you. I'll check later, make sure everyone's got that link. And then in there, there's PowerPoints, like this one, for example, and there's homework. So Grammar 1 homework was last week, Grammar 2's homework this week. But it's just extra work if you want to do it. So I've got 11 people, so I might take a photo so I remember who's here, because you know me, I'm getting old, forgetful. That's what happens when you turn 50. It's really depressing. Shuya, can you talk? Or Sinem? Thank you for your assignment, Sinem. I just got it. And Wen's here. Wen, you were here this morning as well. You're doing a double whammy. Some people want to listen to my lesson twice. Woohoo. I should get a whiteboard. No, where's my whiteboard? Here we go. Whiteboard's here. So we've got an adjective slide up. So you all know there's an adjective order. First you say, you put like this or that or my or his determiner, and then the color, size, shape, taste. You'd have like indefinite article or an, or definite the as well, because it's a noun that goes at the end. But you say the black big dog, not big black dog. So black would be first. And your opinion is the very first one as well. So handsome. Yes. A handsome big black dog. A handsome. Yeah, well, if you look at the order, yeah, I think the size, this is actually not the order, everyone. Ignore what I just said. Handsome big black dog. So handsome is your opinion. Size comes before color. That's just talking about different types of adjectives. But the actual order of adjectives, that's coming up another slide. What are adverbs?
Sorry for the adjective. Is any order for them? I mean, which one would become first and which one would be the next one?
So it's opinion first.
Opinion first?
Yep.
Okay, opinion first.
Yeah, so big would be size, that'll be next. Maybe shape would be after, so the big, black, round, and then color.
Doesn't mean number will be number first as well? I mean,
if you got the first, like the first, second, that's a determiner though. Determiner is up here, which is not actually written there. So the first giant blue tuxedo to be launched. I don't know, but opinion, magnificent giant tuxedo. So opinion is here, but determiner is here. And then this actually is not in order. You have size, shape, and then color. It's on the internet. I'm not sure if it's in this PowerPoint. Even though I did it this morning, I thought it might be coming up. Adverbs, everyone. Do they add to the noun or they add to the verbs? You can see in the actual word adverbs, they add to the verbs. So I run slow, is I run slowly? Yep. So usually ly at the end, like slowly. For time, occasionally, things like that. But you can also say tomorrow or here. There are a couple you don't have ly. Like if you want to do things with all your might, do we say hard or hardly? I run hard. There's no ly, is there? And fast as well. Does that have ly? I run fastly or fast? You can see there's no ly. And what about I run good? Do you say I run good or do you say I run? What's the adverb for good? Because good's an adjective.
Well.
Yeah, that's right. I really hate it when people say I run good. You hear it all the time. Oh, it's terrible.
Yeah.
Shocking. Yes. So usually ly. So I run slowly. I run quickly. I run fast. I run hard. And mid position. So usually for time, so for already, it's always between the have and the past participle. Hello, Alex. Thank you for doing online teaching today. Got Alex here. Alejandro.
Yeah, it's all right.
I haven't done your reflection yet, your PTT, and Joelle's as well from last night. I just got home myself from teaching the CERT class. Yeah, you had what, 10, 11 people there? Oh, that's good. Alejandro did well.
Yeah, that was good, yeah, because they could just participate very actively. Because
Most was doing. Sapphire, she said she was driving, but she did participate a bit at the start.
yeah, so she was the student who was in charge of the class, or I don't know.
Yeah, I thought you might pick that up.
Okay.
She was meant to be the one that was going to teach in the other class, and then she said to me just before 10:30, "Sorry, Donna, I don't want to do it. No. I just want to observe." Oh, okay.
Okay.
And then she said she was driving. I'm going, I see the real reason. Oh, okay. She had to go out, obviously. That's why. Yes. So we're just going through the PowerPoint we did this morning.
Okay, awesome.
So front position ones are for frequency, so sometimes. And also it can be in the middle depending on the adverb, like for example, always. Already we've said is the auxiliary have and past participle. And end. For fashion, how we do something, usually end. So I ran fast, I ate hungrily. And we talked about hard and hardly. So remember hardly and hard, even though you'd think I ran hard, should be hardly, because normally it's I ran quickly. Yeah, that hard. It just means hardly is almost zero, but hard is, with all your might. Yep, so normally has ly for adverbs. I'm sure you guys know all this, but adverbial clauses, so they have no verb. A clause is just like it can be for time to as soon as it tells how, when, why, what, to what extent something happens. So when the sun rises, it could have a verb. It does have a verb clause. So when the sun rises, we will escape. So that's an adverbial clause. So there's the time, place, cause, contrast, condition, purpose, result, manner. And you can see ancient people used a star as if they were calendars. So that as if they were calendars goes on the end, manner, adverb for manner at the end. What's the result of stars are so far away that they can't be seen? So where's the adverbial clause here? The stars are so far away that so the adverbial clause will be so that they can't be seen with a telescope. Okay, so where there are computers, there is a Microsoft software. There is Microsoft. So where there are computers, that's the adverbial clause. So it shows time, place, condition, reason, manner, or purpose. So that purpose, unless is condition, place is where, before is time, manner is as if, and because reason. Joelle, you're saying something to me? People talking on WhatsApp?
Oh, there's not for now, Donna. I was just looking at the Zoom meetup at the same time.
Oh, right, okay.
So that you can respond later to me.
Yeah,
Sorry.
okay then. Yep, that's all right. Yeah, I know it all got changed today because it was weekly and it became fortnightly, and everyone's saying, "Put me here, put me there." And I was, oh.
I completely understand. So I'm doing the same thing, but don't deal with it right now.
Yeah, I'll just make it so I know the dates that you want. I'll put you in.
Exactly. So just ignore me on WhatsApp.
That's all right. That's okay. So adverb clauses in English. Yep, that's the same thing. Yeah. So we use so that for reason action. We use so for results. Just random things about grammar. I won the lottery, so I bought a house. So I won the lottery. So I bought a house. I bought a house, that's the result. I won the lottery, so I bought a house. I'm going so that I can see him, so that's the reason. So it's a bit confusing because if you have the that there, reason. But if there's no that, it's the result. Just little things to help you. Okay. Unless, what would unless mean? Is it the positive or negative of if? I know you guys know. So if I go, I will see him. Unless I go, I won't see him.
It's the negative of it.
Yeah,
Negative.
that's right. Yep. And as long as means to do, as long as you're there, I'll be happy. Yeah, so it's the same thing. I think this one has a bit more emotion. Like, as long as you're there, I'll be happy. Unless you're there, I'll be happy. It means the same, but this is more emotional. I don't know if you think the same. As long as you love me, you know, in songs. Whenever, essentially, what type of word is it? Whenever. Is it a determiner? Conjunction and adverb, depending how you use it. So whenever I go, he's there. It's an adverb. But conjunction, whenever you need me, I'll be there. Adverb is whenever you feel sad, call me. That's an adverb. But conjunction is yeah. So whenever I feel sad, he is there. That'd be a conjunction. And then so for an adverb, whenever is fine. I'll be there whenever. I guess, yeah. Adverb is describing manner. So I go whenever. Yeah, I suppose that'd be an adverb, wouldn't it, everyone? Yes, just say yes. Finished lesson earlier. But I go whenever is an adverb. But whenever you need me, I'll be there. So, trick question. Whenever is a conjunction and an adverb. Embedded adverbial clause. Do they have one or two prepositions? I was going to download this PowerPoint over here, but I haven't got around to it. If you say it's an embedded adverbial clause, it has two. For example, because if, two conjunctions. You should stay home because if you go there, you'll be in trouble. It's an embedded adverbial clause. A predicate is the front bit, the subject bit, and then the complement's the other bit. Once again, I don't really use predicate and complement, but if you came across it, it has the subject, and the predicate is the front of the sentence normally. You can't have cleft sentences where it goes back the front. And when you have active and passive sentences, with the active one, the thing that does the doing is called the agent. And if you make it into the passive, you say by that. But can you drop off the by that agent word for a passive? Because quite often you're talking about how things are made, published, produced, so you don't always need, like China produces napkins. So napkins are produced in China. So napkins are produced like in China by the Chinese. That bit sometimes gets dropped for a passive. Usually not as important as the napkins are produced or are being produced. So I'm sure you know that, so I'm not going to spend too long. Just basically saying with the active and passive how it swaps around, so the subject becomes the agent. Well, it's the same thing really. The agent is the doer, but they call it the agent in a passive voice. And this object becomes the subject. So basically, the subject is the agent, yes, but we only call it the subject in an active voice. But if it becomes passive, we call what was the subject the agent. Yeah, I felt sorry for Vanessa. I don't know why I chose this. But Vanessa drowned in the river. So the river drowned Vanessa would be passive. That had to be a very big, mighty strong river. So a person who does the action, but there's no, this is Vanessa drowned in the river, so it's an intransitive sentence. So actually, it's not related with passive. I just brought this up. If you were to say like the river drowned Vanessa, even though it can be used to personify nature, it's not natural English, but you can say the tree killed him. He was killed by a tree. So agentless passive, we just said about the like by Pablo Picasso, not important quite often. With the passive, it's the three musicians was painted. Yeah, if you want to say the last bit, up to you. After the sentence, the context. People need calcium for healthy bones. They are taking photo IDs today. So make it into the passive, Alejandro. People need calcium for healthy bones. So maybe make that into healthy bones are and drop the agent. Or anyone? Helen? Sinem? Joelle? So healthy bones are, you always make it past tense. When?
Healthy bones are needed.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. And do we need to say by people? Sounds a bit funny, doesn't it?
Yes.
So agent we drop away. So they are taking photo IDs today. So you could say photo IDs. How do we,
They can.
do we say are taken or are being taken?
Are being taken.
Yeah, that's right. It's happening now. So present continuous, you had to say the be, you change the be into the same form as this. So photo IDs are being taken today. So do we say it by them? Is that important or not?
No, in this case, no.
No need.
So the subject pronoun becomes the object pronoun, and if it's just they, unimportant, so we drop it. Good. So, yeah. Auxiliary verbs. Do you remember how many there are? Is it over 20 or under? 22, in fact. 23. So be, am, is, are, was, were, being, been, have, has, had, do, does, did, will, would, shall. So some of these are modals. Should, may, might, must, can, could. So they're like semi auxiliary, but they're helping verbs. They're not important ones. So he is carrying. That is the helping verb. Carrying is the main verb. So they're all the auxiliary. But here we say like must, might, modals, as you can see. Zero conditional, is that for true or fact or untrue or regret? Scientific fact, is it? So water boils at 100 degrees. If you boil water, it boils. No, it doesn't make sense. If you heat water to 100 degrees, it boils. So scientific fact, zero. So if the ice melts, we drown.
Science and
yeah,
fact.
yeah, science fact, that's right. Yeah, good. Yeah, so it's both present. So if water boils, it bubbles. Bubble, bubble, bubble. And then the first, which word do we use to show, well, negative and positive? So if I go, he will go to, or what's the negative of will? He won't go, for example. And second, we use the past and would or could. And third, we use the past participle and would have. So that's for regret. Things that did not happen, that you wish had happened. So which is which? So if I had known, I wouldn't, I need to have a comma in here, I forgot. If I had known, I wouldn't have gone. Is that third, second, first, or zero? That's third, right? Because past participle and would have. And if you boil it, it bubbles. So that's present tense, present tense. So is that first or zero?
Zero.
Yeah, good. Yeah, So I'll be there if you are going. So here when we have the if, we don't put the main clause and then if there's no comma, but up here actually there's meant to be a comma. I forgot to put it in. So this is I will. So when we have the will, that's first, right? I would go if he was going. So that's would and was. So is that first or second? Olga knows. Yeah, I know, second, yes.
Yes.
You don't need to. I can see the thing coming up. I know that you're going to talk, and I know that you know it. So that's why I'm speeding through. So we know the comma, main clause first, and then if, no comma. But here, if clause, then main, comma. It's because you sort of pause more. Like, if he knew about it, pause. He wouldn't have gone. He wouldn't have gone if he knew about it. It's just how we say it. We go faster with the main clause first, and then if we don't pause. Is that the same in your language too? That when you have the if up front, you tend to pause in the middle?
We usually will be use a strong voice for the main clause.
Okay.
Mm.
Because I think in French and Japanese, it's the same thing. If you have the in Japanese, it's moshi or it's si. Si tu n'avais pas, like we stop. Il ne vient pas. He won't come. So I think in other languages, you have if goes first, we have a little break and then continue. So I think it's across the board. You guys agree? If it starts with if, there's a pause, as opposed to this one. There's no pause.
You should have pause.
Oh, you have? Okay.
Yeah.
So it'll get hot if it doesn't rain. It'll get hot if it doesn't rain. If it doesn't rain, it'll get hot. I'm sure it's longer with the if. Maybe here you have a little break, but it's longer that way in naturally spoken English. Anyway, the comma and match. So 0, is it true or fact normally? What color pen do you want? With this one, you can choose different colors. First, is it true or untrue? Yep. Second, untrue or regret? So if I had $1 million, I would buy a new car. Is it true that I have $1 million?
Untrue.
Thank you, Wen. You're being really good. Everyone's being quiet today. So third, if I had known that he was poor, I wouldn't have married him. Not a very good sentence. If I had known he was broke. Regret. If I had known. Okay, so you can see here. So 0, fact, truth. Usually I say scientific fact. First, possible for future. Second, hypothetical, like not true. It's like, pie in the sky, dreaming. Third, unreal, past condition, consequence of what didn't happen. Then you got mixed ones as well. If you had studied harder, you would have a better job. Unreal condition in the past that refers to a present unreal consequence. And if I wasn't afraid of flying, I would have travelled by plane. A condition in the present that refers to an unreal past. Songs like wouldn't it be good if we could marry? There's lots of songs with would. Olga, do you know? There's one about if I were rich, if I were a rich man.
I know. If I could turn back time. Oh no, that's with
Yeah, if I could turn back time. Maybe I'd find a way. That's if I were a boy. If I
Oh
were
yes,
a boy,
Beyonce.
I'd
Yeah,
go out every night. I'd kick it with who I want to.
yeah.
Never care about anything. I'd wear what I want. Yeah, it's a good song.
Yeah.
But if I were a rich man, you know that one? There's a fiddler on the roof. It's from the Fiddler on the Roof movie. Like, if I were a rich man. It's got this diddle diddle dum.
I only know the version with Gwen Stefani that if I was a rich girl, na 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 na.
Yeah. It's got this diddle diddle dum, which is not English, just fills up.
Mhm.
goes with the melody. But I like Nick Kershaw. Like, wouldn't it be good if we could marry, even if it was for
Yes.
just one day?
Song was in Pretty in Pink.
Yeah, that's lovely though. So yeah, lots of songs with conditionals, especially the second. I don't know about the third conditional in a song. If I had known about, I wouldn't have, this regret. I don't know. We'll have to think about that one. Find a third conditional song.
Yeah.
So if she hadn't taken care of the children for us next weekend, if her business trip hadn't been called off, she could have or she would have taken care. So that's regret. That's annoying. Her business trip was cancelled. It's a third conditional. She could have taken or she would have taken. So could and would, very similar. Anyone know the difference? Which one means in your heart intention? Which one means like possibility or ability with your body? Could or would?
Could.
Yeah, could is the ability, like physically being able, and would is, I say would is intention. So your heart is in it, but it just didn't work out. I would have married you if I.
If my heart was in it.
Yeah, I know, it's really sad, isn't it? We're not going to do all the exercises. You can do if you want. Determiners. There's lots of determiners. So like this and that. What's the plural of this?
Those.
Yeah, and that. So that over
These,
there. Yeah, that's those. Yeah,
that,
this.
these,
Yeah.
that, those. Oh wait,
Yeah.
did I mess those up? Is it
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
this, these?
Yeah,
that,
this,
those?
these, that, those. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. You got quantifiers that are determiners as well. So most of the time. So all others, another. And you've got possessive determiners like here's her. It goes before a noun. Indefinite, an. Definite, the. And you've got ordinal numbers that are determiners like first, second. And demonstrative determiners like this, that, these. Partitives, which are some of, piece of. So you can see them all here. So the articles, possessive, demonstrative, numerals, ordinals. So numerals are one, so one person, but ordinals are first, second, and quantifiers. And there's predeterminers as well, like such what. So such a lot. There's such a lot of people. So people, the noun, a lot of is determiner. That's a quantifier determiner. And such here, you can see is a predeterminer. So when do we use the? We don't use that for them for when we talk about things in general. So there's no determiner for like Australian people. If you're generalizing, if you say the Australian people here today, that's not generalizing, so use the. But so Estonians love to bathe in hot springs during the middle of winter. Is that true, Helga? Maybe.
I mean, I'm sure Estonians love to bathe in. Yeah, sure. If we had hot springs, why not?
Yeah, in Russia, like say Siberia, isn't there like hot pools you can go to and there's snow around?
I'm sure they have something.
But you'd say in general, so Russians love to bathe in hot springs in the middle of winter with snow. Continents. So we don't say the Asia, we just say Asia. There's no the. This is just where we have no the. That should be a capital C for Lake Como. But if you said United States, do we need the and why? And Philippines and Maldives. Why is there a the in front of those countries? Because there is a well, United States of America and the United Kingdom. Yeah, so United Kingdom has a the. United States, United Arab Emirates has a the. Why though? Australia has no the. New Zealand has no the. England has no the.
I have a feeling it has something to do with them being collective.
Yeah, you're right. Yes, just because it's united. I don't know if you have the of there, put a the. In country, we have da-da-da, of, da-da-da. It's a collective, therefore the. And Philippines, Maldives, just because there's a plural. For the plural country words, we use the. Demonstrative distance words. Does my daughter come home? Hello, Ellie. How are you? Yeah, good. Tara and Ellie, Tara's friend. You're on. Oh, there's about 20 people looking at you. No, actually, there's only 12. Hi, Tara. Tara and her daughter. I mean, not daughter. Tara and her daughter. My daughter and her friend. Tara's too young to have a daughter. So indefinite articles. That's the and. So we know sometimes we use and for when it begins with a consonant. Can you think of an example? And sometimes the other way around, you might have a U, for example, a vowel that doesn't take an, because normally it's A, E, I, O, U, therefore we have an. But consonants, the other ones like P, B, G, H, normally we just have R. But can you think of some exceptions? Yeah. Mary, Joelle, Helen, Jen, everyone's being a bit quiet. Shuya, can you answer? University, so it's a U sound, not like umbrella. So for university, it begins with U, but is it or an? Yeah, and then for hour or honourable, yeah. What other? There's
an H.
Honour. Peach.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but anyway, honour. The it's the H is gone. Hotel or hotel. No, it's a hotel. But I know in America they say hotel and hospital. They drop the H in America more so than British people. Don't know why. Yeah, I worked in a hotel in America, they say. Is that true, everyone? That's what I've heard. But you'd still say, yeah, for hour and hour, definitely the H is gone. But you'd still say a hotel, but just the I say like this, I think I do, but Americans don't. Okay, so what are examples of predeterminers? You can see, and I said one before. Quite. Do you use predeterminers? Do you think they sound a bit fancy, a bit more eloquent? It was a nice day. Do you say it was quite a nice day? Rather? Because it doesn't really mean much, but it sounds a bit more sophisticated. Do you agree? Or more, at least English anyway.
Yeah, sounds super British.
Yeah, it does. That's right. So they modify the noun. So such and what? It was such a surprise. You could say it was a surprise, but such a surprise. Oh, sounds nice.
Donna,
Yeah.
with those rather examples, wouldn't it usually be, I've just met a rather nice man and it's a rather small car?
Yeah, I've just met rather a nice man. Yeah, what's your question?
Isn't the A before the rather?
Oh, I've just met rather a nice man. I've just met rather a nice man. Oh, I think you could do either.
I've just met a rather nice man.
I've just met rather I've just met rather a nice man. I don't know, I think that's okay. Do you say I've just met a rather nice man? I think definitely you can do both. That's true. But they say predeterminers should be before the indefinite article. So the correct way is rather, though, Jen. This should be how it is. But maybe people like such, I've just met such a nice man. So such, rather, quite. I've met quite a nice man. I've met quite. So it should be here, but I think people do put it there, but they're not really meant to.
Yeah, fair enough.
Oh, no. Anyway, I'm not going to spend too long. Quite a bad accident, yes. So really a bad accident, but if we say quite, I don't know why we say it. To me, it sounds nicer. Yeah. 6 types of determiners. So we did possessive and indefinite and definite. Well, that's the articles, ordinals, numbers, demonstratives, possessive, quantifiers. Do uncountable nouns have determiners? So like love. Can you say such love? Basically, when you're doing generalizations and plurals and noun phrases, we don't use determiners. Uncountables when making general reference. So that's like, again, Australians eat a lot of red meat. There's nothing before. If you want to say many of the Australians I have met, you have to have, it's not general. So if it's a generalized comment, there's no determiner. It's just Australians. Do we need indefinite article or an indefinite article for these nouns? So for bed, church, do you say I go to the bed? Well, indefinite, so it'll be at bed. Because definite is the. So do we need a the or an are for any of them?
No.
No. So just I go, I go to the sea. I go to bed, no. I go to church, no. I go to class, I go to college, I go to prison. But sea, I go to the sea. I go to town, I go to university, I go to work. Actually, that sea we do. I go to the sea. Meaning the closest sea. But university, no. Just, there's nothing. It's just, I go to university. Yeah, well, anyway, C is the only one that we do. More determiners. Predeterminers are these ones. Quite rather such, what? Not what for a question, but what a lovely day. So I guess we could say it's the same as how's the rain, Australians say. It just means, look, the rain's very heavy. Okay, more songs about articles. Definite, indefinite. Play that song. Pop songs with determiners. Yep, we know the difference between direct and indirect, right? Direct has the quotation marks, so it's actually spoken. Indirect is when we say he said that. And we talked about if it's true still, even though the textbook, like elementary pre, always say, present tense has to become past tense. But if it's still relevant and quite fresh, still current. So I'm tired. What does she say? Oh, she said she is tired. Okay. But if it's say an hour or so down the track, what does she say? Oh, she said she was tired because an hour's gone by and maybe she's already gone to bed. Do you understand? But if she's still, what does she say? Oh, she said she's tired. Do you understand, everyone? It's pretty common sense. And if it's could, it still stays could. Like if she said, yeah, could I go to the bathroom? What did she ask you? She asked, there's no past of could, right? So we just have to say could. Is there a past of might? Might? If she asks, or she says, I might go home, and someone asks, what did she say? Is there a past tense of might? No. So once again,
No.
you'd say, yeah, so she said that she might go home. So if it basically is becomes was, yeah, like is eating becomes was eating. Have eaten, the present perfect becomes past perfect. Had eaten. Will, what does will become?
Will would
Yeah, would, and can becomes
could.
yep, could. But if it's still relevant, still true, then we don't.
Okay.
So, and that's the ones I said that could and might. There's no past. So you can say like, I can go 1 hour later. What did she say? Oh, she said she could go. That makes sense. But if there's a question asked for permission, could I go to the toilet? And this person, what did she ask? She asked if she could. So we still keep could and might the same. So if it's just happened, well, I call it backshifting, which means makes it past tense. We don't backshift if it's just happened or if it's still true and relevant. So from Wikipedia, actually, it says, if what the speaker has said is still true or relevant, we don't make it past. I go to the gym next to your house. Jenny told me that she goes to the gym. because it's still happening. I'm thinking about going with her. Just the textbooks, like elementary and pre, they always say present tense goes to past tense, but you need to realize if it's still true, it stays present. I've broken my arm. So what happened? What happened? Oh, she said she has broken her arm because the arm's still broken. Okay, everyone? Getting back to complement and predicate, it's a little bit, we've got the predicate is the subject and the complement's a bit at the end. Yeah, complement is part of the clause following the verb that adds additional information. Well, a complement clause has the verb, but just a complement by itself has no verb. And yeah, I know you know, but complement is to say something nice, to praise someone. So can you give me an example? Like he said to, what is the object pronoun of he? For a boy, he becomes. Olga, I know you know. Shinhee, I know you know. Shuya, I know you know.
Sorry, you say he?
Yeah, so he, what is the object pronoun? Subject is he, like she, they, it.
Him?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so he
Him or
is
her?
him. Yeah, that's right. For she, it's her. What about for it?
It.
Yeah, that's a tricky one, isn't it? It is it. That's true. I'm not sure. And possessive pronouns would be like his, hers, theirs. So he becomes him. You becomes you is also the same. So you and it don't change, which I think is a bit confusing. In your language, do you have a different word? Because in English, well, I know in Japanese it's the same word. Actually, that there is no object pronoun in Japanese. In French, there is. It's tu and te. So I guess Latin languages have this, but Asian languages no. Is that true? So you might have Asian people that are a bit more troubled by this, that he for subject becomes him for object.
Yeah, because in my country we use the same.
Yeah. Well, Japanese just put not to make it possessive, just one little word not for everything, just the subject. It means belonging to him. So that I and me, and a lot of people say in Australia, yeah, John and me are going. But if it's a subject, you have to say John and I. So you can say if it's an object, me. So yeah, John helped me, because John's the subject. But I know a lot of Australians say me as a subject, which is wrong. Yeah, so where did you go? I went to the city. Who with? Do you say John and I? Or myself and John? Or do you say John and me? Who did you go to the city with?
John and I.
Well, actually, that is true. Now, actually, you can say John and me. You can say John and me. Yeah, but if you make your whole sentence, then you say John and I went to the city. But if it's just John and me, you can do. That's true. If it's just that little short bit, you can do it. Yes, that's okay. Yes, yes, yes. We're about halfway through, everyone. So what is the possessive pronoun for your? So I went to, like, instead of saying your house, so what did we do last week? Did you come to my house or did you come to my house? Did I go to your house or did you come to my house? I can't remember. And you said I went to
Yours.
Yeah, we say yours. Infinite clauses. So this is with to, isn't it? You can have nominal infinite clauses as well that start with to. You might have learnt at school we don't start sentences with to, but you can for nominal to infinitive clauses. to say, I think it's like Shakespearean, like to be or not to be. That is the question. So to say there is no afterlife would mean a rejection of religion. So normally you would say, an example of a rejection of religion would be to say there is no afterlife. So if you want to emphasize this bit, you can put it at the front. So when it's a noun, if the to infinitive is a noun, the subject, the main part of the sentence, then we can have the to here. We want everyone to be happy. So that to be happy is subject clause. So if you just want to explain this grammar, when you have the to at the start, you say it's a nominal to infinitive, and this is a subject clause. To say there is. So what's the difference? Oh no, sorry. Next, which of these sentences, are they clauses or are they phrases? Phrase is shorter and has no verb. Give you a hint. There's a typo here. The woman ate dinner quickly. I cannot move because my back hurts. Who was running really quickly? Josie could swim really quickly. Which was really smelly? I didn't really go over this today. I think I skipped this a little bit. I was just going to say, it's actually not what I thought. So
Who was running really quickly? I think that can be a clause.
basically, they're all clauses because they've all got verbs. So basically, don't worry about that. I'll just delete that slide later. Because a phrase is like sit slowly. Oh no, that's got a verb. Okay. Like with Mary. It's a phrase. But then a clause is I sat with Mary. Or sitting with Mary, for example. Sitting with Mary. Don't worry about this a little bit, everyone. I can't remember why I put it in or something else. And there's a typo there too. Okay, here we go. Which are phrases, which are clauses? Clauses have the verb. That's my hint to you all. So in my room, is that a phrase or a clause? There's no verb, so it must be a phrase. Now, I used to think that a phrase was longer. I think there's a different meaning of phrase, but to do with grammar, a phrase doesn't have a verb. Like that's a popular phrase we use for an idiom, like the grass is always green over the other side. I would call that a phrase, but that's a different phrase. So the cat went under my bed. So went, so we know it's a clause. The cat went. So if you had just the cat went, because that's actually a full sentence, but the cat went, that's the clause. Until next week, is that a phrase or a clause? There's no verb.
Phrase.
Yeah, and yet they tried. So tried is a verb, so we can see clause. Quickly walking to the store. So quickly, so it's not a proper sentence because there's no subject here. So walking to the store. This is an adverb. Walking to the store. It's got a verb there, so it's a clause. Yeah, you can look up for me if there's two types of meanings for the word phrase, because I think there is, because I always thought that phrase was the longer version, but yeah, researching this, it seems that phrases don't have verbs, clauses do. You can have, but there is a verb phrase which would have a verb in. Noun phrase, verb phrase, adjective phrase, adverb. What's the difference between transitive and intransitive verbs? Which one has things that are, well, you do something to make it happen. There's a person, there's an agent who does the doing. Is that transitive or intransitive? I know, Olga, you know, you did a little class.
Exactly.
Yeah, I know.
I just wanted to
haunt
say.
you want to forget about it, I know. So, but you can have the same verb or different verbs in English. So, for example, I know in Japanese, definitely, they change this one sound. So like ochiru, ocharu, like hajimeru, hajimaru, owaru, oweru. It's a little bit, just the middle sound changes, just that little one syllable. But for us, we can have the same verb, like, yeah. So it rained away the dishes. That's a funny one. It rained away the rubbish. Well, or it rained. It rained. So things to do with the weather are always intransitive, but it got rained away, you could say, for if you had rubbish outside and then it disappeared the next day, then it would be transitive and it's the same verb. But then fall and drop is the same motion, but to drop is you do it, so it's transitive, but fall is intransitive. So it is raining. So if you have something here, it becomes that things are happening to it. So which it is raining, is that transitive or intransitive? No, full stop. I have to put in later.
Is it transitive?
Intransitive, yes, but it's raining cats and dogs. So cats and dogs, it's saying how it's raining. It's meant to be. Anyone know?
Well, since cats and dogs are a direct object, I would say transitive.
Yeah, you're right. Yes. And they say it became that we say it's raining cats and dogs because a long time ago, animals used to live on roofs of haystack houses, like thatched roofs, thatched, like made from hay. And if it was raining a lot, then the cats and dogs would fall into the house. I don't know if it's true or not, but if you had a dog and you had nowhere to put the dog, you put the dog on the roof. And if the roof was made from hay and it rained a lot, the dog would come boom through the roof into the house. And then you say it's raining cats and dogs. That's one point of view on how this expression, this idiom came to be. He's been singing all day. He has been singing all day. So if you just say singing and there's no object at the end, is it transitive or intransitive? There's no object here. So no object means it is.
Transitive.
Yeah, intransitive, yes. But here, if you say he's been singing nursery rhymes, so if there's actually something that he's been singing, then it's transitive. So when he finished, he vomited. He vomited. So vomited, is that transitive or intransitive? It's tricky, I know, but if there's no
Intransitive.
yeah, if there's no object here, but he vomited up his lunch, bleh, then yeah, that's something actually. There's an object here, so then we say it's transitive. So, and there's ambitransitive verbs. They're the ones that can be used in both situations. So I sing intransitive. I sing songs is transitive. I read fiction. So I read full stop. My daughter's sending me a kiss. Yes, hello, goodbye, Tara. She's trying to be nice to me. She told me she's dropping Japanese. Not happy. It's okay. She's trying to be nice, my daughter. Officially, she decided to drop Japanese. It's too hard. I'm not happy about that. So anyway, Latin-based languages often use the same verb, but Asian languages, different or not? Like I said, hajimeru, 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 hajimaru. I don't know about all Asian languages, but is it the same verb? Often for Latin-based it is, but for Asian languages, often it's not.
I don't speak any Asian languages, but I'm reading from your head action that it's a no.
Correct. Yes. So that's the hajimaru, hajimeru. So it's the same kanji, but just the ma becomes me. So just so you know, from a Japanese person's perspective, that it's almost the same. It's actually quite easy because it's the same verb, but if you have action, it has an air sound. If you have no action, it has an ah sound. So this means the meeting starts, the president starts the meeting. So if it's an air sound, it's doing it. And if there's an ah sound, it has just happened naturally. So it's probably easier than English, you might agree. In other Asian languages, it's similar to that. So owaru, that's ah sound, so it just means finish naturally, but oeru means you actually finish it. And there's other examples like that as well. So we all know gerunds is the ing verb that's a noun. So for example, running is fun. It's not actually the verb, it's the thing of running. And a gerund phrase is, so running marathons, for example. So gerunds can be subjects like gardening. Gardening is my favorite leisure. Decorating a house. So gerunds as a subject are usually found at the end or start of a sentence. So whereabouts? So if you say, so running marathons is my favorite pastime, or do you say my favorite pastime is running marathons? Is it normally the start or the end when you have a gerund as a subject? The start or end? Running marathons is my favorite pastime. My favorite pastime is running marathons. No, normally, Jen, have a guess? Running marathons is my favorite.
At the end.
I tend to overlook things. Supposedly, sorry, Jen. Supposedly, I know. Yeah, well, you can double check. I'm happy to be proven wrong. Most of the time. Yeah, so running marathons is my favorite hobby.
I just said the end because I thought the second sentence sounded better, but I don't actually
I don't know. I don't know either. I just read that on the internet, and so I put it here. So running marathons is my favorite. My favorite is running marathons. Oh, you guys check it out for me. I'm pretty sure I saw that. That's why I put it in this slide. Show PowerPoint. Can a verb have a different meaning? For example, like remember to eat, remember eating. Stop to eat, stop eating. Try to eat, try eating. Do they have different meanings?
Yes.
Yeah. So forget, for example. So forget meeting her. So it's a thing of forget to bring is that you're forgetful, but forget meeting her I'll never forget meeting her. So it's an actual event. And she stopped smoking, so the thing of smoking. But she stopped to smoke is actually she had a little break for a couple of minutes. So it depends if you have the ing gerund or the infinitive to with the verbs remember, forget, stop, regret, try, the meaning will be different. Okay, so these ones we use with gerunds. So avoid hitting, he advised me that singing. But over here, these are actually both. So you could, what's the difference then? Like I hate singing and I hate to sing. Which one would mean that you're saying things in more detail? When, do you know? If I want to talk in a bit more of a detailed fashion about hating something, do I say I hate to sing? Or do I say I hate singing?
I think I hate to sing.
Yeah, that in that situation, so I hate to sing after I have had a shower because my voice has gone hoarse from singing too much in the shower. I don't know, but yeah, if you have the to, I hate to. So I love to. Usually it's more detailed, but then I love singing. So anyway, we're nearly finished now, everyone. Not long to go. Make gerund and infinitive sentences. So remember to and remember. So remember to eat. I remember eating. So Alejandro, what's the difference then? Remember to eat. So if I tell you remember to eat your green vegetables, and I remember, I don't know, can you make a sentence and tell us the difference?
Let me check. I knew that.
I remember when I met Sayemi for the first time. It was love at first sight. Oh.
Yes, because something that you remember that I don't know how to explain, but I know how to use it.
Yeah. So you can say
I remember to lock the door of my house.
Yeah, that's more like an obligation you have to do.
Yes,
If you're
exactly.
renting a place, remember to lock the door. Remember to turn off the fan after you use the shower.
Yes, and the other one is like I remember singing in the school.
Yeah, seeing my girlfriend Sayemi for the first time.
Yes.
Yes. So you can see different meaning. Connectors and conjunctions. Which ones do we use for a new sentence? Is it connector or a conjunction? Olga or Jen or Helen or Mary? Which ones do we have for a new sentence? Connectors or conjunctions? Got Mika here too. Hello, Mika.
Are conjunctions words like and, but?
Yeah. So they're in the middle of a sentence, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yes. So
Yeah.
connectors, you can say, like, first of all,
Mhm.
for a sequencing, contrasting, however, despite, reason, for that reason. So you have full stop in new sentence, for that reason. So they're connectors. Results. So therefore, so it's full stop then, therefore, or due to. And as a conjunction and, well, I've put this in just because there's lots of ways to say and. So if you're teaching writing, you try and get them to use other ways of saying and. Yeah. When, while, which one is longer when you have an action that you do over a long time? So long, or basically the same length of time. To use, you could use when, but which one is better if you want to show the period of time equaled?
Why?
Yeah,
During?
while. Oh, during as well, that's true. So during the holidays, but during the holidays could be you did it only once or twice, but while ironing, I watch TV. Shows me from the start of ironing to the end of ironing, TV, or the other way around. TV on, ironed, pretty much the same period of time. And as soon as we know is right after, very quickly after. So back to connectors, we've got sequencing connectors, contrasting connectors, conditional connectors. Although this one is not a new sentence, but it's within, when you use it, you have it in a new sentence. Reasoning connectors. Conjunctions are only one word, aren't they? Connectors more, and can be found at the start of a sentence. Resulting, so therefore, as result, consequently. So we see that connectors we can use to add information, talk about time, sequence, contrast, condition, reason, and result. Now we talked about relative pronouns, and for example, so my brother, if I paused and said who lives in France, turned 60 last year. So if I have a pause there, which reflects a comma and a comma, is that defining or non-defining? So I'm just giving you extra information not related. So my brother, who lives in France, maybe because maybe you want to go visit him one day, slightly related to what we talked about previously. My brother, who lives in France, turned 16, I don't know, 20, whatever age you want to say, last week. Is it defining or non-defining? My brother, who lives in France, turned 16 last week. Anyone? When it's extra information, is it defining or non-defining?
Non-defining.
Yeah, non, that's right. So
Non.
extra, that's right. But if I didn't pause, I kept going, which reflects the fact there's no comma. So if I say my brother who lives in France is now 16. My brother who lives in France turned 16 last week. So am I showing there that, am I saying it is the brother who lives in France if there's no comma, or am I just giving extra information again? So there's no pause. So my brother who lives in France turned 16 last week. So if there's no pause, is that defining or non-defining? Defining is when you make it so you understand it and there's no pause. It just goes straight. So my brother who lives in France turned 16 last week. Defining or non?
Defining.
Yeah, that's right. Yep. So that means the brother who lives in France. Maybe you've got other brothers, but you're saying the one in France. My brother who lives in France turned 16 last week. But the other one is just extra information. So that's why I'm saying it depends on the reason why you're saying it. If you're doing it to define that brother, then there's no comma. But if you're just saying, oh, extra information about living in France, then you do a pause before and after. So my brother, who lives in France, turned 16 last week. Do you understand, everyone? And we don't have that for non-defining. My brother who lives in France. My brother that lives in France. We don't say if we're making it defining. For non-defining, we don't have that. And so for when, we know for time, where, place, and whatnot. And whom. So whom and who, which is the subject pronoun, which is the object pronoun? Who is it object or subject for who compared to whom? So who is the subject, right? And whom is the object. So can you give me examples of the w? There's 5 w words and 1 h word. Do you know what they are?
Who, what, why, when,
That's right.
how.
Yeah, how's the last one? Yes, that's right. You could go more than 5, like where, which, who, whom, why. But you could say whose as well. And how long, how much, how many. Good. Okay, phrasal verbs I know you know, because they're separatable and inseparable. So like turn off the light. Is that separatable or not? Can you say turn off the light? Can you say turn?
I just wanted to
Turn the light
remind
off.
everyone who was in my GC lesson, these are the 2-word and 3-word verbs.
So yes, it is
Yes.
separable. So I don't know why. I just so like so these ones. Well, it hasn't got on this page, but like for take, there's something like 30 different phrasal verbs. So separable, meaning you can, and inseparable, meaning you can't. It's a bit hard to read, but like switch on, switch off, turn off, turn on, turn up, turn down, separatable. But wake up, for example, we talked about wake her up. Wake up the children, wake up. Okay, object pronoun her you can put in there. But so wake up, you could say wake her up. So it is possible to separate it. And we talked about that intransitive and transitive. So intransitive, write it down. It's not related, just that phrasals also have transitive and intransitive. So intransitive, the plane took off. It's always took off. You can't separate it. And here, intransitive was separable. So you can say write it down, or you could say write down it, or write the recipe down, or write down the recipe. So it can be separated. And then transitive, meaning an object. I get up at 7. So get up is always so separatable, not with object. So yeah, and then verbs with non-separable. So you can't. So put up with is okay as is. You can't say you can't put a object pronoun here, but here you can put an object pronoun. It's separatable. So I get her up, or I get up. Okay, so yep, lots of phrasals for get and take. Oh yeah, here we go. So a new adjective. Oh, adjective order. I thought it was going to be. Oh, here you go. Yep. So that was at the start of our slideshow about opinion, shape, color, material made by purpose. And if there is, for example, opinion, like 2 opinions, do we need a comma? Because if we said magnificent round blue Mexican hat, do you need a comma for any of that? A magnificent round blue Mexican hat. Do you need a comma?
No.
No. But if you have something like a beautiful magnificent, so they're both opinions. Do we need a comma then?
Yes.
Yes. Could you see me nodding my head? Yes. So if it's an opinion, so if you have 2 of them here, that are similar. So round, oval shaped, or woolen, hemp like, you know, that's when you have a comma and there's two together, but otherwise no comma. Nearly finished. So we've got modal and semi-modal. So semi has two words. So a modal is can, could, will, shall. But can you think of any modals that have two words with a preposition? Semi-modals are like have to and ought to. Okay, I'm not going to go through all that. Inversion is just when you flip it around the other way. So so I have to go. So do you have to go? You just make the subject. The subject and the auxiliary swap over. So Sam has read the paper. So inversion, always it's going to be a question when you inverse the statement. It has Sam. So the auxiliary and the subject just swap over. Sometimes you might say, make a question, just do inversion. Question tags, I know you all know. So it has to be the positive, then the negative, but it could be, you didn't go, did you? So I find some people get confused about that. So if I ask, so Olga, you didn't go, did you? And it's true, you didn't go. Do you say yes or no to that answer? You didn't go, did you?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, but a lot of Asian people, when they get asked that in their language, they'll say no, but we in English say yes, I didn't go. No, when we say no, I didn't go. You didn't go, did you? No, I didn't go. So you answer with the feeling of the sentence that it's negative. But then Asian people think that that sentence is correct and therefore say yes when they should say no. Do you guys agree with me?
Yes, agree.
Because if you ask a Japanese person, so you can't write properly, can you? You can't write using a fountain pen, can you? And normally would say, no, I can't. But that person might say, yes, I can't, which is confusing for us. It's like, what? You can? But they mean, yes, that statement is correct. Is that true for Chinese and Filipino people too?
No.
So you can't drive very well, can you? So you're crashing all the time. You can't drive very well, can you? So you say, no, I can't. Or you say, yes, I can't. Anyway, that's something to think about. So if you have, I know like for a Japanese person, they might say, yes, I can't. But you have to remind them, you go with the feeling is no. So you say, no, I can't. Alejandro, you ask Sayemi, see if she agrees with me. Dynamic and stative, these are always just present tense. But when do you use think with ing? What's an example? We can sing a song. So I've been thinking about you. So basically I tell everyone all of these, I think, da da da. I understand, I own, I know, I have, like in my hand, I hate. But if you have the preposition about, you can say thinking about. Not going to go through. So can some verbs be stative as well as dynamic? Don't be mad, you are being stupid. So that's both. Okay, prepositions. I'm not going to talk because it's too easy, I think. Yeah, I think this is different to the one I showed. Non-defining, so extra information is non-defining. We have commas and we cannot use that for non-defining. My grandmother, that is coming. You can't say. It has to be my grandmother, who? So for extra information, non-defining we call it, we cannot use that. Okay, conjunctions of the glue. If you want to remember coordinating conjunctions, there's an acronym called FANBOYS. For, at, but, or, is. For, and, nor, but, or, yet, so. Cleft sentences, anyone know what they are?
Nope.
Yeah. Well, they're sentences that have a if or there, all like a what or an it phrase at the start, and they don't sound very natural, but it's for emphasizing. So it is Jamie for whom we are looking. So what he wanted was to buy. So all he wanted was, they have a certain type of intonation as well. So I looked up, but I didn't copy all definition. A complex sentence that has a meaning that could be expressed by a simple sentence. So basically they're complex sentences, but they have a certain type of intonation. So if he wants to be an actor, it's because he wants to be famous. When you're emphasizing a point, so normally you might say, so it is Jamie for whom we are looking. So we are looking for Jamie is normal, but when you want to emphasize it is Jamie, you'd have it in a cleft. You'd make it into a cleft sentence. Modifiers, those ones. So we talked about semi-modifiers before, or semi-determiners that quite rarely, pretty rather. Intensifiers, too much, too many, and enough as well. And so and such. Alejandro, did you do a PowerPoint on so and such? I think you did. Last little bit, comparative, so ER and more. And what are the 3 irregular comparatives? Alejandro, you did so and such today. So bad, worse, worst, far. We talked today that you can say further or farther. I don't know if one's American and one's British, but you can say far, further, furthest, or you can say far, farther, farthest. I think the farther is British, don't you think, everyone? So if someone say, oh, I live farther from you, I live farther away from the school from you than you do, then that means probably they've got a British upbringing, but I live further. I think further's become more mainstream now rather than father. But father, F-A, for your dad, but father, F-A-R, is for the British way of saying further. Superlatives, I know you all know. This is for the present perfect. I know you know that too. Yep, this is the last slide, I remember. So as just saying that this is actually incorrect, some people say, nobody sings like you, that is okay. So nobody sings like she does is correct, but nobody sings as she does. So it should be as well as she does. So informal English is often incorrect English, just shortened version. So it should be the same way as. So nobody sings as well as you, but so in that situation, as or like, both can be used, but correct English would be as well as. Nobody sings as well as she does. Okay, so it should be like, not as. And by, which one is it to start or end? Is it by or until? So which one is the action verb? Is it by or until that we use? So if you want to say
A start and until is an end.
yeah, well, so if you want to say work, you say I will work by or I will work until. If you want to say study, I will study by or I will study until. An action verb, is it by or until? This is how I explain it. I say that the action verbs here, but this is it's usually just stop, start, leave. But this is like you're doing something continuously. So I will finish by, end by, arrive, leave, start. It's all doing, coming, going. But this is you're in action. Remain until, sleep until, study until, work until, stay until, continue until. I don't know, it's just one way to help people understand when we use by and until. Yeah, and that's it. And then we just showed some grammar books, which I'll share the link as well. This is the earlier edition, the easier one of the one that we're using for grammar chats. So guys, we're finished now. Isn't that good news? And homework is just on the Google Drive under grammar. If you go into the grammar folder, you've got a folder called homework. So I'll just show you that and then we'll finish. Should be working. I just have to share screen again. I was asking Zoe about the door problem. She said that the company, it's not the same person who manages 474 Anibit now. They've changed management. And I think that's why we had the problem with the door today. Because normally the guy, Dom, he lives in the building. So if there was an issue, he'd just come down and fix it. But now it's a company that don't actually live in the building. So they couldn't keep the door. They couldn't do what they need to do to make the door stay open. Yeah. So cert grammar. That's what we're doing at the moment. Oopsie. Grammar's down here. Okay. Like I said, homework is optional, but it's a good thing if you do it because, you know, you're meant to be doing 20 hours a week. And I put all the homework here now because it's easier, because sometimes when I send, it takes forever. And there's so many of you, it's just easier just if you all get the link to the drive for each module that we're doing. So like next after grammar genre, we're doing IPA. So once again, I'll just send you the link. And then we do speaking, I'll send you the link. And then within the link, you can go to the PowerPoint that we're doing. So there's always 1 and 2, the grammar 2. And then next week we genre, then genre 2. And then you go in here for the homework. And I've made a Google Classroom as well. That's only for those who are interested in learning about Google Classroom, a link, which I put in the WhatsApp chat. Otherwise, basically, if you don't want to do the Google Classroom, every week I'll send you a Quizlet quiz. And if you want to go here and do the homework, you just have to copy it, put it in a Word document and do the homework and then email it to me. That'd be really good if you could. And that's all there is to say, everyone. So,
Sorry, I can't find it. You said it's in the grammar, yeah?
yeah,
You mean the homework is in the...
so I'll resend it to you when. You go to the certificate grammar.
Okay, thank
Yeah.
you, guys.
Certificate grammar, open up that, and then within that you've got PowerPoints for grammar, which is always there'll be 2. We do grammar twice, and then for genre, that'll be next week, the week after. So week 4 of this, or you could say genre 2, about half of that class will go through the assignment, and then the assignment will be due before the next class. Because actually this one's 4 weeks, normally it's only 2. So everyone, how did we go for time today? Not as long as last week, I hope. I'll just stop recording now.